guests and honorees, welcome to the RCW Honors Ceremony. This is a celebration of excellence, perseverance, and extraordinary contributions in River City Wrestling's 2 decades as San Antonio's brand of pro wrestling. Today we gather to pay tribute to individuals who have left an indelible mark on our company's history. This is the inaugural class of RCW Honors. And get ready and prepare yourselves for a day filled with heartfelt speeches, captivating stories, and well-deserved recognition.
We also like to thank the Rock-N-Wrestlin organizers for hosting us today. Hopefully, you all have met some of wrestling's greatest legends. They will be available after the ceremony as well.
And we would also like to remind you that RCW has a spectacular event tomorrow. We will have an electrifying card for RCW Stars and Stripes Forever at the Grand Event Center, 8709 Northwest Loop 410, right here in San Antonio, near Ingram Park Mall, right across the highway from Holmes High School. The action will start at 5 p.m., and we hope to see you all there.
By today, this is about our own company's legends. Let's begin with our first honoree. Here to induct Aquaman, Jonathan Vela. Please welcome Felicia Extreme.
Hello, everyone. Can y'all hear me okay? Yes. All right, awesome. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, today we honor an individual who was an icon of inspiration and epitomized authenticity. His ability to be comfortable in his own skin despite any negativity and prejudice made him loved by so many, including myself. RCW officials noticed his creative spirit, and from then on, Aquaman Jonathan Vela was the first warm and friendly face that you saw at any RCW event. His professionalism and charisma as a ring announcer shined through every show that he was a part of. I know from experience how difficult and absolutely nerve-wracking it is to be the ringmaster for the circus we call RCW. And Jonathan always showed respect and held it in stride. He was the perfect complement to the larger-than-life personalities inside the ring, and even tossed around one half of the Texas treats, Don Juan. Jonathan loved the San Antonio community and participated in countless charity events and cosplay conventions to support all of those in need. As a dog dad, he even found time to volunteer at the San Antonio Humane Society, where I did public relations. I would see him pretty often, and he always made it a point to stop by my office and catch up. He absolutely loved helping homeless pets find their forever home. And while he is no longer with us, the love for the community for Aquaman continues as we remember him daily. It is my honor to induct Aquaman Jonathan Vela into the RCW Honors. Please welcome his brother and former RCW ring announcer, Jeff Vela, to accept this induction.
All right. Thank you, Brandon and the RCW family. My brother, Jonathan, a.k.a. Aquaman, would be so happy to be receiving this award given to him by the people he considered his family. Our family thanks you, Brandon Oliver, and Jennifer, and Madison, and all the RCW family for your support at our lowest points in our lives when we lost Jonathan. We will not forget your generosity and compassion. Like you, Brandon, Jonathan was also loving and giving to people he knew and didn't know. This compassion he had for living life to its fullest compelled him to volunteer and help others with special needs. He volunteered with students with autism and the Lighthouse for the Blind. He was a champion for young men or young people to look up to, like Madison and Carl's son, Todd. Hi, Todd. All right. When he was not volunteering at the children's hospitals and other places, he was having fun with you guys here as a ring announcer. We both grew up watching wrestling and going to wrestling matches at the Freeman Coliseum to watch world-class championship wrestling, to see our favorite wrestlers like Kerry Von Erich and all the Von Erich brothers, the Freebirds, Ric Flair and Kamala the Ugandan Giant, and many others. This love compelled him to support Brandon and the RCW family. The friends he made here made him happy. He would come home and tell me about his friends Ryan Ocean and Rob Love. And, where's I lost my place? That's so fun. All right. And how they made their ring entrance by riding in on a bike with Ryan Ocean driving the bike and Rob Love sitting on the handlebars facing him. That was like my favorite wrestling entrance of all time. Anyway, I loved it. Anyway, he had many friends here, and I want to pay my respects to the great Michael the Beast Faith. He was a great wrestler, friend, most of all, great daddy to his children. He is missed by all who knew him. Jonathan had lots of friends here at RCW, like Jeremy J. Wave Phelps, Carl the Encyclopedia. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to show you the video. You can barely see it on my phone. It's Jonathan and Hernandez clotheslining Don Juan. Right? Is that him? Is that it? There it is. Boom. I don't know if you can see it. That's awesome. What people didn't know about Jonathan is he probably would have actually wrestled for you guys, but he had a stroke 10 years prior to this when he was 28. So when you'd see him walk into the ring, he had to learn how to walk. So I don't know if people knew that about him. So, yeah. Or else he would have been in there and wrestled you for real. And probably lost. Anyway, thank you for honoring my brother Jonathan into RCW honors and letting him teach you guys how to be a better person and be comfortable in your skin and being comfortable with who you are. Thank you all. RCW forever.
And thank you, Jeff Vela, for your heartfelt words. Your brother's journey was a testament to the power of resilience and the strength of the human spirit. His legacy will continue to inspire for generations to come. Now, let us turn our attention to the next honoree. This individual defines the words love, support, unwavering, constant, dependable, kind, and friend. We are talking about, of course, Carl Belcher. And to induct our next honoree, please welcome to the stage, J-Wave.
And when you talk about the Texas streets, don't forget, we're the best.
Hello, everybody. On February 4th, 2012, two significant and yet seemingly unrelated events happened in my life. First off, the Crimson Shadow made his first appearance in an RCW ring at the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church. He, or I, was destroyed by Kyra Maya, or Queen Shiva as she's now known in the RCW rings. And by pure coincidence, sitting at ringside with his family for the very first time was Carl Belcher. Since that day, Carl has proved to be the ultimate fan whose unparalleled humility and support enabled RCW to get to where it is today. Over the past 12 and a half years, he attended most RCW events, and he also bought plenty of merch. I personally put out 3 different shirts for 2 completely different gimmicks, and he bought all 3. You could usually find him in the front row with any combination of his family, his wife Debbie, his sons Todd, Sean, or Stevens. Now at shows, some fans have been known to make themselves part of the show, usually by letting us, the wrestlers, or the fans know that they're there at ringside. But Carl did so much more. He's been a guest referee, a ring announcer, a sponsor, and thanks to the Fandemonium events, Carl also got to be the guest booker a number of times. And on top of that, it turned out Carl was also RCW's unofficial photographer. I was going through his Facebook photos the other day, just looking at pictures he took of RCW, and I swear he took over 3,500 different pictures. Yeah. On top of all that, Carl has supported us at meet and greets, meals, as well as community and charity events. Honestly, anywhere we were, Carl has been there too. But to me, Carl has been more than just a fan. I truly consider Carl a friend. On top of that, he's also been a mentor to me and an inspiration. Around 9 years ago, my youngest son was confirmed to be on the autism spectrum, and his advice really helped me and my wife navigate through some rough waters, especially with some of the unique challenges that our son David faced in kindergarten. I didn't think I was going to do this. I cannot express how much that has meant to me, Carl. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I am beyond honored to present the award of the newest member of the RCW Honors to Encyclopedia, Carl Belcher.
Thank you, Carl Belcher, for always being there for us in RCW. We love and appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, we now turn to our next inductee. Each honoree has left an enduring legacy within our company. proving that the dedicated pursuit of excellence knows no boundaries. Our next inductee, indeed, did not know any boundaries. Here to induct Reyna Pink, please welcome the magnificent and controversial Trina.
It's true, I have been out of the game for a while, and I never honestly thought I'd have to be in a room full of marks again, but here we are. So, it obviously had to take something really special, something monumental to bring me back here. Something like my girl Reyna Pink finally getting the recognition she deserves. Trained by the legendary Manny Fernandez, Pink has made quite a legacy for herself since coming aboard in 2008. She was one half of a fearsome tag team with Darcy Drake before she teamed up with the dastardly San Antonio's Most Unwanted. And it takes a special brand of crazy to have a kind of run on the Mexican independence like Pink did. Now, don't let a name like Pink fool you, because Reyna is definitely not a girly girl. More like a whoop your butt first and ask questions later type. Honestly, most of her notable feuds were all against men, taking hits from the likes of Big Dog, rest in peace, and El Mamacito Andromeda. Pink has held titles such as the International Championship as well as the Tag Team belt. And she's been out on her own hiatus for a while and recently returned to wrestling to assist Logan Pettis in becoming the two-time Texas Manager of the Year. Pink is the original queen of RCW, laying the groundwork that built the women's division for this company. And she even holds the honor of naming it the Angels Division. So yes, I do believe every wannabe diva on the show tomorrow owes her a thank you for her blood and sweat that paved the way for them. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce my friend and the next RCW Honors inductee, Reyna Pink.
Doesn't make me old or done, just so you know. Okay. Thank you, Trina. Okay. I was, like everybody, right, a wrestling fan all my life. But I do feel that I spent most of my time in wrestling trying to find a place to showcase what we women were capable of. Nothing fit. I did not idolize any specific female wrestler or anybody in general. I watched mostly the men, and I studied the men because that's who was on TV at the time when I was growing up. So I did not have an interest in ballet or referee. Even to this day, I don't. Sorry. As for most of us, the Attitude Era changed a lot of that on TV and my perspective. The ninth wonder of the world, China, did exactly what I wanted to do, and that was, beat up cowardly men. And I did it very well. Lita made tattoos cool, so, it wasn't taboo, but I didn't really like her wrestling. But if you knew me from around the year 2003 to 2005, I would watch wrestling events on pay-per-view for $5, at Tiffany's, Fatso's, and all the places where we used to all hang out. I didn't want to pay full price. I'm not going to pay for a full pay-per-view event, so I would go watch over there. So it was around that time that I would collect my PWI magazines and try to keep up with indie wrestling. And RCW used to be in the back of it as well. So I would kind of follow and see who I knew. So the internet wasn't anything like it was now. I saw an article on Milano Collection AT, and he was at the time rising Japanese star. He was in Ring of Honor, and he was training here in San Antonio. So seeing that, it piqued my interest, and I asked the toy guy, who we affectionately called eBay Ray, rest in peace. He directed me to a training facility that trained the likes of other recognizable names in RCW, Ikaika, The Treats, and Big Dog. My first day of training was January 1st, 2006. It was a day that changed my life forever. I was lucky enough to be given training opportunities in multiple places throughout my years. In 2007, I trained exclusively and worked on many road shows with Manny Raging Bull Fernandez. He was the first real name that gave me a chance in wrestling. 20 or so years ago in the business, women did not have a place. There wasn't an interest. If we weren't blonde or enhanced, it didn't matter. There was no revolution. You were either a diva or a referee. My frustration continued to grow through that year. I received an offer to work in Mexico. Get that bucket list ready, Angelina. You're about to change your life. In July 4, 2008, 15 years ago, I made my debut in Lucha Libre Femenil, Monterrey, Nuevo Leon, Mexico. That is where my family is from. So it was a really big deal. It was Independence Day for the United States, and I was there. As a novice girl in the Masters trying to find her way, I did so in a way that many of the great women before me had started. There was a place that started people like Sarah Del Rey, Sarah Stock, Simply Luscious, and Princesa Suhey of CMLL fame. It was a major privilege to be in Mexico in the Indies. I had goals I had to attain, and the girls down there loved to train. So I made that bold decision to do exactly what I wanted to do, and I stayed there. And it was in a couple months later of that year, 2008, and I was contacted by Boom Boom, Brandon Oliver, about the return of RCW and what he had planned for RCW's future. The biggest decision was the major inclusion of women on the roster, and I was asked to join with my mask at the time to kind of see how it went. The return show would be in August 2008 in front of my family and friends in my hood at Silverado Rodeo. For the first time, I walked into a real American wrestling locker room filled with what would be names and just amazing performers in general. The XCW invasion with the likes of Keith Lee, Jerome Daniels, big-time players, Kevin Douglas, so on. We also had the RCW with the course of treats, Psychedelico Jr., Big Dog, and the list just goes on of names that were there. Then let's see here. Sorry. It always had a big show feel because we all tried to make it that way. It was and still is a pretty big deal to us. I was pretty much living in Mexico, so I would come home on Saturdays for the show so that I could wrestle in my hometown exclusively for RCW. The constant shows and travel through South Texas was amazing, and I was living the life. By this time, I was in Funaki's training class. Since he left WWE, I ended up being his first female student. The women's division was not an overnight success, but more of a slow burn for us. I started out by beating up smaller roster guys. I was able to work with some of the outside women talent like Mercedes Martinez, cheerleader Melissa, Simply Luscious, and the Hamada family, who I had met in Mexico. We all had some wild tags, luchas, triple threats throughout the years. Once we started having more luchador matches, we really started to hit our stride and what was resonating with the audience at the time. We added Darcy Drake and the heart of the soul of the division, Andromeda, to the mix, forming the RCW Angels. And that was the catalyst for the women's belt. I had only been competing for international and tag titles. For history's sake, I will let you know that even though my physical crown was stolen the night of the Queen of RCW, I was the first victory of the Queen of RCW, and I never relinquished that title. So that title does remain with me. It doesn't matter who says it or who says or thinks they are. Okay. Self-proclamation does not make you a queen. So, let's see here. After that, I was an RCW International Champion, maybe co-champion, but she doesn't exist anymore. Two-time tag team champion, and we were starting to steal the show in main event. As I've said before, we were revolutionary before there was ever a revolution. All of this came from the mentality of people who believed that we were no different athletes than men, but we were no doubt truly special. Fighting men, I've broken fingers, taken strap matches, wild finishers, gone through tables, had my share of concussions for the sake of entertainment. There was no set school with lineage of people before me that were female, so I had to work wherever I could, injured, it didn't matter, I had to work. So I would, at this time, though, like to thank the people that have mentored me at various times through the years and never did it out of malice or in any effort to control my career. If you know me, then you know I couldn't be controlled anyways. From Gorgeous George to Marty Jannetty to Homicide, I've been fortunate enough to work with amazing people from all over the world. To thank, of course, Manny Fernandez, Funaki, and especially the Treats for continuing to be positive mentors to me throughout my years and into the future. And to my 4 friends that passed away in the business way too young and recently that helped me train, and that was Brett Thunder, Batery, Big Dog, Lance Cade, and eBay Ray. There would be no Pink if you didn't spend hours teaching Angelina. It's now my turn to return the favor to the next generation. From students to veterans, there's always something to learn, and the day you stop learning and growing is the day that it's time to walk away. And just like Broadway, the show must go on.
Thank you, Pink, for always being fierce and a champion in both in and out of the ring and opening the door for the women of RCW.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the main event. Here to induct the Texas Treats, please welcome to the stage the esteemed owner of River City Wrestling, Boom Boom Brandon Oliver.
Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it now. I said so, I keep big bills up in my heart on the dirty.
How are you doing today? First, I want to thank Rock-N-Wrestlin for having us out today. Give them a hand of applause, please. So what can I say about the Texas Treats? A lot. I think my speech is the longest today. I loved them. I hated them. I loved them and hated them again. That seems to happen a lot, but I often think for 2 reasons. The first is that they are the best. And the second is I view them as brothers. And as brothers do, they fight, they argue, but in the end, they always love each other. And there's no one you can count on more. I first met Cocky Chris Marvel and Delicious Don Juan at another San Antonio promotion way back in 2001. That's right, 22 years ago. Our friendship can drink now. And to be honest, it probably should. I was a modest but extremely tall referee. And these 2 guys were working way too hard for just 10 people in the crowd. They were so talented, though, often having the best matches on the card while not necessarily always in the main event. One definitely had a chip on his shoulder but was highly entertaining. The other was cocky but wrestled like Eddie Guerrero had a secret love child. And there they were, Don Juan and Chris Marvel. Don Juan could talk on the mic, but it's more than that because that's such a cliche. The goal of being able to speak on the mic is to talk people into the building. Can you make the people interested in you enough to where they want to get in the car and go see you wrestle? Are they able to clearly and distinctly understand what the story is and where the story is going? And Don Juan can sell. Boy, can he sell. Sell ice to an Eskimo. The facial expressions he has pulls you in. Meanwhile, Chris Marvel is so silky smooth. Not as loud as Don Juan, he's the perfect complement because everything he says and does has meaning. Nothing is wasted with Chris Marvel. Not one word, not one movement. Everything has a purpose. Then you have the mind for wrestling, and it's no surprise that he has become the San Antonio wrestling as Greg Popovich is the San Antonio basketball. And together you have a treat. Whenever a fan saw them advertised for a show, they knew they were getting their money's worth. When I wanted to start running shows monthly in 2005, I knew there were two guys that I needed to steal from the competition. And with them behind me, the heart and soul of RCW, I knew my dreams of having a wrestling promotion that everyone could be proud of would be a reality. My promotional skills, their ability and dedication. Together, wrestling fans in San Antonio would get introduced to great independent wrestling that they haven't seen since the days of Southwest Championship Wrestling. And I believe that together we achieved that goal. We have made RCW into San Antonio's brand of professional wrestling for more than 2 decades. Relationships, especially over the span of 2 decades, often take divergent yet intersected paths. Sometimes Marvel was in RCW, he was carving his own way. There were times when Don Juan was Andromeda, and who wouldn't want to steal a kiss from El Mamacito? If you want to see how great Don Juan is, go back and watch Andromeda. Don Juan made that gimmick beyond entertaining. It was a realm of his own. Unique entrances, constant new gear, always looking for ways to boost the gimmick even more. He really isn't given enough credit for Andromeda. Really. Don Juan left wrestling for a few years, and I missed him terribly, but I understood why. Maintaining our friendship despite his hiatus from wrestling was essential to me. I hope I showed him that I value his friendship and that it goes beyond the ring. Chris Marvel I also stayed in contact with, even when he wasn't part of RCW. Like Don Juan, I wanted to show him that he was my brother. And I hope that I showed that, and that goes beyond the ring. A few years ago, Marvel started his own wrestling school, Hybrid School of Wrestling. It started modestly, but it grew. Boy, did it grow. One day I stopped by Hybrid after it moved to its current location, was utterly blown away. Like his wrestling, everything had a purpose. No movement was wasted. He had a curriculum, organization, and most importantly, a culture where everyone felt psychologically safe, that they belonged, and that they could be the best athlete they could be. I couldn't be happier with my relationship with Hybrid. The students are much more talented in the ring. They have remarkable dedication and character, which speaks volumes to Chris Marvel's leadership. In 2021, we were all recovering from a little thing called COVID-19. Last time I ran a show was in February of 2020. And while the pandemic affected so many lives and businesses negatively, It allowed me to take a breath, reevaluate RCW, and determine the framework in which I wanted to operate upon our return. My first move was to stay aligned with hybrid. My second was to bring Don Juan back to wrestling. These two things were at the top of my priorities. It was challenging. I know the scars are deep for Don Juan. He embraced returning in a creative capacity, and slowly, you could see it, the twinkle in his eye, the fire shot up through his bones. It was time to return to the ring. At this time, however, Don Juan had not reconnected with Marvel and visited Hybrid yet. But man, what could have been floating in the minds of these two guys? I'm sure scars, fear, doubt, uncertainty. And I'm not kidding when I say that while there may have been strife internally to everyone else watching, it felt like the early 2000s again, just with a bit of gray hair this time. The Treats returned and eventually won the RCW Tag Team titles again. They had the best matches on the card. They are the heart and soul of RCW. They are a driving force, and they are the best. And so now it's time for the best. So ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to induct Delicious Don Juan and Cocky Chris Marvel, the Texas Treats, into the RCW honors.
And don't forget, we're the best. We're the best.
How can I follow that? You should have talked after us, I guess. I mean, I'm Eddie Guerrero's love child.
You can't beat that.
Greg Popovich.
Yeah. Don't cry. Don't cry. He's not going to cry. He's not going to cry.
So I didn't write a speech, as many of these people did. What we call in this wrestling business is I'm going to wing it. You know, most people wouldn't give an F to be up here. I got 4. Wait, it's not what you think. 1 is family. You know, with that... Hold on.
If you laugh at him crying, squats are training.
1,000 squats. No, without them, you know, they put up with so much stuff with me being gone so much, still being gone, building up the school, building up my name. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here right now, so thank you. Second F is friends. As you knew, they said if you in this wrestling business long enough, you can count them all on one hand. And I pretty much could do that. Because I got Brandon, Don Juan, Josh, Mark, and Ikaikaloa. I could have included them in family as well, but they're my friends and my family. The third F is the fans. We got one fan right there, Tommy. He seems to follow us everywhere we go for the last 15, 20 years. We got Uncle Sean and Jessica over there who's been following us just as well. And we got new fans that keep following us and hope to follow us for the rest of our careers. And the last 4 I got is the future. And if you look back there, You look that way over there too. They are the future of wrestling. And if you heard Brandon like I did, it's going to be in good hands. So I just want to say thank you for everyone. And thank you, Don Juan.
Although Marvel is going to wing it, I wrote a speech. This might be the only speech I have, so I'm going to take full advantage of it. First,
Can I get a chair?
yeah, get a chair if you want. It's going to be a little bit. No. First and foremost, the story. This story and all the glory goes to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Because without him, this couldn't be possible, and we wouldn't be here right now. So, I'm just going to pick this up if that's fine. So I met Marvel. We met each other in the year 2000. It was my first day of training, year 2000. It was a backyard ring, yes. And on the first day of training, I was being taught how to take clotheslines. On the first day of training. Having no athletic background, which I don't know if you could tell now because I got my keto diet going now, so. But having no athletic training, I fell awkwardly on my elbow. And just like that, my spirit was broken. I was crying. I was trying to hide. And I was certain that this one training session was going to be the extent of my wrestling career. The other students jeered and snickered as I wallowed in my defeat. But there was one light. There was one there who came up to me and said, "It's not that bad. You'll be fine." That light was cocky Chris Marvel. And little did I know, that conversation would spark up a partnership and a team that would endure and strengthen over the past 23 years. We have tagged against the greatest teams in the world and performed in front of the biggest names in the wrestling business. We have traveled to different states and even Mexico to entertain fans with our dancing and unique tag style that flows like honey. I dance, he flows like honey. But put together, it's good. It's real good. Even though we traveled many places, there is only one place we can truly call home. It was at a Hooters on Fredericksburg in 2005. That's not our home, but it's the part of the story. So we met at a Hooters with Brandon Oliver to discuss the vision he had for his lifelong project called River City Wrestling. Brandon Oliver was the first promoter besides the great Bill Behrens to treat us with respect. Mr. Oliver treated us like we had something to offer. And although we are both good singles wrestlers, we have something special when we perform as a team. Mr. Oliver saw that, gave us a platform to shine, and we ran with it. We have been a part of every type of match that RCW could think of. Carl, you know some. Uncle Sean, Tia Jessica, you know some. Scramble matches, tables matches, ladders matches, tables, ladders, and chairs matches. Electrified cage matches. Electrified cage matches. You forgot that one. I thought you were a super fan. Come on. Barbershop matches. Barbershop matches. And even tomorrow, Mr. Oliver has us in a flag match where we're going to defeat H2 Easy and Living in Fashion. Y'all can go. Tickets available now. Grand Event Center. Flag match. Come see it. Come see it. We're not done yet. River City Wrestling has allowed us to wrestle some amazing talent throughout the years. From the SATs to Amazing Red, Kazushi Miyamoto, Ikai Kaloa, the Nerdy Boys, Scott McKenzie, Danny Matthews, Mike Dell, and the list goes on, but we're already almost out of time. Okay, we'll cut it short. RCW has been a lighthouse for us, a lighthouse. And the relationship we have with Mr. Oliver has grown into a respectful and beautiful friendship. You can even say that we're familia. I met my wife through RCW. My aunt met her husband through RCW. My cousin met her husband through RCW. How many more love matches are we going to make at RCW? So it's safe to say RCW has two roots within its foundation named the Texas Treats. But wait, there's more. We are just in the middle of our story. Now we are even stronger and plan to grow larger in numbers every day. With J-Wave, come up here. Our treat and training, Diego Rene, come up here. These are our partners in our match. They're the future. Get the flag. Get the flag. We are going on a large recruitment campaign to recruit treats in training. You see, wrestling isn't something we get to do. Wrestling is a fire shot up in our bones. And we will continue to let this fire burn until the good Lord takes us home. So we continue our legacy, training the future at the hybrid school of wrestling. Building the future stars of River City Wrestling. And with Mr. Oliver's continued vision and work ethic, the future looks so amazingly good. And another thing. We're the best.
We're the best.
Thank y'all very much.
We're the best.
Thank y'all very much. They didn't tell us what to do after, so we're going to stay here until they kick us off.
You know, you guys could have stayed up here with me, you know. That concludes our ceremony. Congratulations to the first ever inductees of RCW. Honors. We hope to see you tomorrow for RCW Stars and Stripes. Goodbye, everyone.